Victor Wembanyama is still a long while away before he can play his first game for the NBA. He's been garnering fans in the US already, and it doesn't seem like he'll stop growing in popularity anytime soon. If you want to learn more about how Wembanyama could impact the Pacers by joining their roster, stick around until the end of the video. Let's get into it. First up, Wembanyama could bring about a change in the Pacers' rep. It's been a long time since we've seen any sign of the Pacers making any sort of noise in the NBA. They haven't been performing that well as of late and are struggling to stay relevant as a whole. Last season, they had the lowest attendance at their games. Even fans from Indiana show minimal interest when it comes to the Pacers. This season, things haven't changed much. They still seem to be struggling and are currently sitting third from the bottom in terms of league rankings. According to Forbes, the Pacers are the 26th most valuable team playing in the NBA right now.
On the play, his speed got it to the other end for Smith, but Halliburton.
Considering there are only 30 teams in the NBA as a whole, things don't exactly look golden for the Pacers. Though, there is still hope in the form of Victor Wembanyama. They're currently 6-6 right now, and if they bottom out this season and also manage a bit of luck, they could have a good chance of landing Wembanyama. If that happens, the French prodigy could change everything for the Pacers, and we might just have another top-level team on our hands. Next up, what exactly can Wembanyama do for the Pacers? Wembanyama has been described as the golden goose who could change the Pacers' fortunes overnight. Considering the huge amount of influence he's bringing with him over to the NBA, we have a feeling the Pacers' courts will be filled by fans who just want to catch a glimpse of Wembanyama playing. Adrian Wojnarowski came to the NBA Countdown last month and talked about a team's president who had told him that if he was able to draft Wembanyama, it would add a value of a little over $500 million to his franchise. That's the kind of support Wembanyama is coming within the NBA.
Having to guard this in transition, the ability to raise up over top of defenders.
Now you're probably wondering, how does that affect the Pacers? Well, considering the state of their team and the horrendous performances they seem to be putting up almost daily now, a leg up like this could go a long way for them. They'd increase the value of their franchise and get larger crowds to come and watch them play. Eric Prisbell talked to the media and talked about how Wembanyama was so hyped up that when he does manage to arrive in the NBA, he'll have an almost instantaneous impact. He's slated to grow in terms of influence and global impact at an enormous rate. Plus, any team that's able to get their hands on this kid is sure to undergo an extremely positive, immediate financial impact. Coming up, how good is Wembanyama? Even though Wembanyama isn't playing on US soil right now, he's still managed to gather an insane amount of hype. Fans of the game are amazed at his athletic prowess and can't wait to see him hit the NBA courts and face off against the top teams in the league.
But he's not a guy that's going to really be able to dominate with his back to the basket because he doesn't have a strong base.
It'll certainly be a sight to see because of the way he's playing. There's a good chance he destroys even the best of players in the league right now. He's gotten so popular that if you search online, you can already find fake merchandise for the prodigy. An example of such merchandise is a fake San Antonio Spurs shirt with Wembanyama's name printed on the back. We spotted it being sold for $28. If you search elsewhere, you can even get your hands on a shirt that says "Tank for Wembanyama." The player currently plays for the Metropolitans 92, and a game of his team against Scoot Henderson's team, which a lot of fans consider to be his nemesis in the game right now, was aired on ESPN too. In case you're wondering, Scoot Henderson is slated to be the number 2 overall pick in the 2023 draft.
Is that his MJ shrug?
Well, this was similar right here. Scoop with the little shrug right there.
He plays for the G League as well. A total of 117,000 people watched that game, making it the second most viewed G League Ignite game since 2017. These guys haven't even made it to the actual draft yet, and they're already raking in crowds of 100,000 plus people to come and watch them perform to the best of their ability. The future's looking bright for these two young stars. Finally, what's the NBA's take on Wembanyama? We think it's safe to say that Adam Silver has officially become a fan of the young prodigy, as the NBA recently announced that they would be streaming every Metropolitans 92 game on their app for free. That's some insane level of hype that Wembanyama has managed to surround himself with.
Well, I was wondering when Scoop was going to try Victor, and he does on this possession, but that is advantage Victor.
He's got the entire NBA fixated on his every move. It's also worth mentioning that it's in the NBA's favor to advertise Wembanyama as much as they can. They recently approved some changes back in April. They increased the number of international sponsors from 3 to 10. An NBA executive talked about how this new change in regulations will allow teams to utilize a more thoughtful approach in terms of how they invest and what deals they look at. Unsurprisingly, the Pacers didn't leave a comment when asked about the new change in regulations concerning international sponsors. We suspect it's because all 4 of their sponsors, including PointsBet and Motorola, are all American companies. Other larger franchises such as the Golden State Warriors have a more worldwide following thanks to their international sponsors such as Rakuten, who recently extended their partnership as the franchise's jersey patch sponsor for $20 million a season. Regardless, it'll be interesting to see how the coming season ends up panning out. With new regulations and an influx of general talent coming in, we're sure to see some amazing games happen in the coming years. Now, let's check out whether Victor Wembanyama is in NBA 2K23. First up, is he in the game? Wembanyama might not be playing in the NBA just yet, but he's managed to build up internet hype, unlike anything that's ever been seen before. He has fans all over the world, and he's only 18. His career hasn't even properly launched, and people are already looking forward to seeing which team he ends up playing for. These days, the biggest buzz surrounding which team he ends up in would be the San Antonio Spurs. The bigger question on everyone's minds is whether he'll be featured in the new NBA 2K23 game.
Wembanyama up top, throwing it down.
Everybody is curious to see if he's going to be a playable character in the game. The short answer is yes, but not in the way you think. See, Wembanyama plays for the G League, and that league isn't present in NBA 2K23. So now you're probably wondering, how can we get him into the game? Although while the NBA doesn't support the G League, it does support the custom roster feature. Next up, how can I use this to get Wembanyama? It's a very simple process. It involves a few short steps, and you'll be good to go. You simply have to navigate to the Features tab on the main menu. Then you have to select the Create a Roster option. From there, you can go ahead and select the Download a Custom Roster option. At that point, you just need to pick a roster that has Wembanyama on it, and you should be good to go. That's barely a 3-step process, and you can play with Wembanyama to your heart's delight. An official version of Wembanyama is sure to hit the NBA 2K24 game, as that's when he'll be able to compete in the NBA officially.
In the league forever.
Hey, now!
Till then, we're going to have to rely on methods such as these to dominate the court with him in-game. Another way to get him in-game is to create your character and make sure he has the same characteristics as Wembanyama. Then, you can add the character to your in-game roster, and voila! Whichever way you choose, you're going to have an insane amount of fun using the guy. Finally, is it worth the hassle? It depends on whether you're willing to ride the Wembanyama hype train or not. If you're as hyped as the rest of the NBA world to see him in action and scope out what he can do, then we'd highly recommend going through with it and getting him as a playable character in your game. Some people just can't wait for another whole year before being able to use him in the game, so we guess this would be better suited for those peeps. Regardless of all the hype, we're still quite excited to see whether Wembanyama can manage to live up to all the expectations placed on his shoulders. He's been on the radar for quite a while now, so having thousands of fans watching his every move won't be anything new.
Tonight he'll be draft eligible in 2024 as Victor Wembanyama.
Still though, it'll be intriguing nonetheless. There have been cases in the past of players not living up to the hype, and we hope it isn't the same for Wembanyama. Well, that's a wrap for this video. Do you think Wembanyama can live up to the hype? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.